Simon Welsh, we met last week from the Redbridge organisation. They're the ones who do polling and a whole bunch of insights, which in part is built with long, extensive conversations with voters. Lovely to see you again, Simon. And the great Michael Kroger, a carryover champ as always, strongly affiliated with the Liberal Party, and there is no surprise that he, like me, has a strong opinion about how the world works. So, lads, I wanted to ask a couple of things about the unofficial reset of the official reset of the official beginning of the end of the... It's like, OK, guys, anyone who's kind of turned on the news knows it didn't stop over summer, right? It doesn't stop over summer in an election year. You just have 15 ways of reintroducing yourself. But let's get to those numbers I was saying, where it could be anywhere from 5% in some polls to 34% of people that are either undecided or haven't started to lock in their views. Simon, I'll start with you. What does it say to you that at this stage of the cycle, where there is not the official 33-day election campaign, where people on television say, well, people are only starting to tune in because they don't like the results of the polls that are coming out. What does it tell you about this cycle compared to, say, last one, when the frisson on the air was pretty obvious, which was that they wanted to dump the government? Are there more undecideds now? Fewer? What do you see?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing more undecideds at this stage. And just quickly, that disparity between the 5%, 35%, I think will come back to how they're sort of calculating those two categories.
Right.
I think one might be a straight out message, a straight out sort of response, people saying undecided. I suspect the other one's got people that might be leaning one way or the other but aren't truly committed to it. So they might be showing up as Labor voters or Liberal voters in the poll, but they're not committed, they're not strong behind that vote. I suspect that's what's going on there. But certainly, we're seeing there's a lot of up in the air now. And unsurprisingly, particularly in those outer suburban contest seats where this election is going to be decided, because you've got a lot of voters out there that are coming off the Labor pile. And they're not sure which way they're going to go. They're sort of not happy with what they're seeing. They've been shaken out of the tree, but they're not exactly sure where they're going to run yet. So Labor's facing threats, yes, to the Liberals, but also, if there's good independent campaigns and those sorts of things in those areas. So I think that's feeding into a lot of this.
Yeah, so Michael, what about to this point where we read opinion polling about what's happening in Victoria, that people just aren't listening to the government anymore? We all know that there's that stage. What are the signs to you that Australians aren't listening? That, yes, there are some people that have been shaken out of the tree, but there are other ones who go, you know what, every time I see insert politician, most likely the Prime Minister in this case, say, you know what, I don't care. I don't care what he offers me. I don't want to hear him.
So the global zeitgeist has changed, and Albanese's caught in this terrible situation where for his whole life, he's been part of the hard left, the extreme left in Australian politics, and people are getting to know that. I mean, October 23, he comes up with this extremist, referendum to change our constitution to divide the nation by race forever. So from that day onwards, his polls have slipped, right? There's a global movement against left politics for all the reasons we know. This is hitting Albanese hard. And I don't know what he can do to turn it around. I'm not sure he can do much. People in the outer suburbs have just decided this guy's priority was $500 million on The Voice, massive government spending, which they know increases inflation, failing to protect Jewish Australians from this shocking, disgusting anti-Semitism we've seen in this country. We see more anarchy in our streets, against synagogues, against childcare centres, against Jewish homes. The working middle class, the swinging voters who've been with Labor look at this and think, this guy has completely lost control of this country, and they're going to vote against him in droves. And, as you know, Matt, I've been saying for months, Dutton's on 72. Dutton could well win in his own right at this stage.
That would require the total blowout of the Teals, and I really don't want to have Teal talk every Sunday night. But where do you see that happening, Michael? And then Simon, a response to what Michael might be suggesting here, because I know you guys have got down into sort of the seats as well. Michael, take us from 72 to 76.
Well, I've included the Western Australian Teal as a Liberal seat. It's only 1 and a bit percent, so we'll win that, and 2 others in Western Australia. I think Wentworth's on a knife edge for Allegra Spender. The Liberals could well win that back. There's a very significant Jewish population, and all to her credit, she's been supportive. It's not, no one's as supportive as Peter Dutton has been, and in times of enormous crisis like this, you go those who've loved you longest, and that's the coalition going right back to Menzies, particularly through the Howard period in recent time when he and Downer and Costello were always supporting Israel at the United Nations. In Victoria, look, the Labor vote's collapsing in Victoria, partly to do with Albo, but mainly because of the massive unpopularity of the state Labor government here. People have just had enough. Daniel Andrews, he bought 2 elections in 18 and 22. He's bankrupted the state. People have had enough of Jacinda Allen. Labor are going to dump her. They're just over the Labor Party here. Now, the Teal vote in Kooyong and Goldstein was held up by the Labor Party people strategically switching their vote from Labor to the Teals.
Yes.
I wonder whether there isn't a lot of significant buyer remorse there, thinking we swapped Josh Frydenberg for Monique Ryan and Tim Wilson for the Teal there. So I think the Teals are now in trouble in those 2 seats as well.